Hello everyone, I am the Architect. Welcome to this episode of The Awakening, a retrospective to Persona 5 and Persona 5 the Animation. I'm your host, Alexander M. Bush, creator here on Time Split, and joining me tonight is GBM, aka Parkscope Joe. How you doing, man?
I'm hanging in there. I've woken up, I've gotten up, and I've gotten out there. So, yeah, I have a new recording rig that I'm testing out for the first time. It's like a nice boom mic on my desk with those little things, you know, where it's like a coil and then you have the little springy things that hang the microphone, so I can type and people won't hear it anymore. So it's all weird now. I feel official. It's odd.
You're not official until you screw up.
Oh man, I've done that plenty of times then. We're great.
Yay, then we're official.
Yay.
So yeah, welcome everyone to the first episode of the show. For a bit of clarification, this is something we've wanted to do for a while for the Game Bay. I wanted to do it as a thing that can be somewhat of a fun chance to bring some of the content that you've seen on the official Time Split YouTube channel, such as Theme Park Talk and Screen Chatters, but onto the Game Bay and themed as such. And what better IP that we can go with is the Persona franchise. The Persona franchise is so big, I wanted to get someone that was very much into it in a way, and thankfully I finally got someone crazy enough to join me in. And I'm going to let you start. How exactly did you get into Persona?
Oh boy. I mean, so the best way to put it is, like, I've always been a Nintendo fan, so I was never really into the PlayStation until the PS4. But I've since, God, maybe about not a decade, but quite a while now. Since I was in college, actually, I was into Giant Bomb, and I still am. And Giant Bomb's fantastic, and I love everything they do. But Giant Bomb, Jeff Gerstmann, animes for jerks, and and can't beat 100% Jeff Gerstmann, bought Persona 4, Shin Megami Tensei Persona 4, for PlayStation 2, and he decided this game's too big. So him and Vinny Caravello were going to play it as an endurance run for the game. For their website, and the endurance run ended up being over 150 episodes. I want to say 157 episodes. It was about over 100 hours of playtime.
Oh my God.
It was the great storied trials of Charlie Tanaku and all of his craziness with Bufu and stuff. Actually, I did not see that till later, but I kept hearing him talk about this game. Like, even listening back some old episodes recently, I just realized that they've been kind of, subconsciously telling me about how great all this stuff was. So I ended up buying a PS4 when the new generation came around, and I got a Vita because I wanted to, I wanted to be one of the 10 people who own a Vita, which I'm holding in my hand right now. And I wanted to, do, what was it, the remote play and stuff like that. So, I bought Tearaway and a few other games, and then I was at GameStop after going to a bar near GameStop called The Waking Lizard, and I was just looking for games. And I'm like, okay, well, I heard about this one. It was like that and Danganronpa are the two games I heard, Persona 4 Golden and Danganronpa. And I didn't find Danganronpa. I found Persona 4, and I picked it up. Persona 4 the Golden. And I was like, okay, well, let's do this. And I see had to buy it new, whatever. Okay, bought it new. And I booted up, and if you've not seen the Persona 4 Golden, introduction, it's real weird. It's weird. So I was like, I don't know what I'm getting myself into. So I played a little bit, didn't get into it, put it down, picked it back up, and I was immediately hooked afterwards. It was something that I beat, I think, in 67 hours for my first playthrough of Persona 4 Golden. I then played Persona 3 Portable twice, male and female route. In another playthrough of Persona 4, and then I played. Then this was right before they did the whole entire media blitz for Persona 5. So then I just followed everything with that, just pretty much everything from the chairs all the way up until the release in America, and it's been a kind of a crazy ride, to say the least.
That's honestly kind of crazy where you were introduced with one of the spin-offs of a spin-off to Shin Megami Tensei.
Well, I mean, the For the Golden was just was just a remastered kind of Ultimate Edition. It wasn't like a spin-off. It was they just kind of took it, added 2 new social links, added 1 new character, added a few new scenarios, and just made
it's
it
a
look
Game of the Year edition.
pretty much, yeah. So they added Marie, they added another character as a social link. They made it into the widescreen aspect ratio. They upgraded the graphics. They rebalanced it also, and I think they added 1 or 2 more events to the game. So it wasn't like a spin-off, but it was definitely the same game.
Huh. Okay. It's actually kind of fascinating to hear.
Mm-hmm.
As for me, I was actually somewhat introduced to the Persona franchise, strangely enough, by the 2 snacks, 2 Best Sisters Play, Persona 4, because I was like, and I'm still in the Brony phase, but it's like, what exactly is good fan content? And I was like, wait, what is this? And I was like watching 2 snacks, and eventually it was the Persona 4, and it was using I think assets of Persona for the animation, and I was like, that's a very fascinating art style, and I'm kind of hooked at it. And I tried watching a little bit of Persona 4, the animation once, put it down. Then I think it actually was you, Joe, that after E3, you gave me, because we were doing the Game Bay E3 showcase, you gave me the full 24 episodes of the original Persona 4. The
completely
animation.
legal. A completely legal version of it.
Yeah, completely legal. No,
I bought it all for you. Everything's good. Completely legal. On the straight up and up.
Yep.
Like all anime is.
Yeah. I think I'm at episode 2 now, but I'm starting to try and get back into it for if we ever come back to that. But we were talking one day, and we wanted to, I think you were thinking of doing a Persona 5 series, sort of more specifically on the animation that was being released this year by A1 Pictures and I forgot the animation studio who was doing the animation. But
it's produced by Cloverworks, and I believe it's done by A1. So it's the studio's A1 Pictures. Yeah, the studio is actually A1 Pictures who's making it.
Then yeah, and I initially turned it down because I think I was busy with just trying to figure out what to do next. I was writing the first 2 episodes of The Intellectuals. I was writing, I was trying to get Screen Chatters figured out, and I was trying to get Theme Park Talk Season 4 figured out. And eventually, I think it was last week or something, to where you and I had a talk, and we... I was the one to suggest, were you still interested? And here we are. And this really would not be possible if it wasn't for Joe, because he was crazy enough to get me a copy of Persona 5 on the PlayStation 3, and I'm actually going to be playing that eventually in the next few weeks when I get the power box and HDMI cable for the PS3 again. I lost that, and I lost the controller. So I now have to, I have everything needed. Just it's timing for me, but I'm going to play Persona 5 for the Game Bay, and I'm excited about that. So this series is going to be us going through Persona 5 the animation, and as I play Persona 5 here on the Game Bay, my take on certain things going on as I do my playthrough. And I feel like we should just start, first off, Episode 1. Episode 1 takes place at the beginning. Is it the first hour of the game? Or is it
the first episode?
Yeah.
Not even.
Wait.
I'm looking at the write-up of... So the problem with... the good part and the bad part is that it doesn't really necessarily equal to what the game does. So, it's not even the first hour.
Really?
Yeah, so they really wanted to leave on, like, it's still quite a bit, but the thing is they really wanted to end on Ren's awakening. So I think that's what they tried to speed to hit. So they really tried to fit about 45 minutes of material, maybe an hour at max, into 22 minutes. So, like, this is definitely a very condensed game, like a condensed episode.
Huh.
It's definitely one of the weakest that I've seen so far. I need to catch up with a lot of them, not going to lie. That's definitely a reason why I want to do this, so I can actually catch up. But it's been, it was really weird, and it left people with a bad taste in their mouth of the anime.
One of the things I will say in regards to I have no background experience in Persona 5, so I don't know what I'm getting myself into. I felt the first episode was rushed to an extent, but it wasn't as if it was a bad thing for me. I'm sure I'm going to fully understand what people mean once I start playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew what was going on. I knew, like, at least that this was our main character. This was the character we talk about later. This is the routster in the group. And it felt almost like they were just trying to juggle. Like it was a big juggling act. And I was fine with it. I've seen worse first episodes for anime, so
okay.
I would say that it's not bad.
Faint praise.
Yeah, but the animation in this episode's good, which is debatable in a strange sense for this show. As far as like the first 5 episodes that I've seen, like those 5 episodes didn't really have that good animation. Outside of like the transformation scene of Ren, I did not like the animation. And I thought it was just flat. What is one favorite part of the episode that you liked, though, Joe?
Oh, man, I don't know because I really don't care for the first episode that much. I mean, the big problem they have is, like, the good news is that everything that I've seen and I've heard, what I haven't seen yet, is that it improves vastly. It really does find its footing more, and it takes more time. I really do think the first few episodes were just trying to rush through, like, a lot of material. Like, there's a lot in that first, the first 4 episodes is, like, a buttload of material that they rush through. I would say for the first episode, I mean, I don't want to give too much away. I'm trying to think. I mean, some of the little character stuff with Ren is nice. Just like the whole entire, I thought I deleted that. That kind of stuff was cool. Cool. It's those little things. The awakening scene's not nearly as good as it's in the game. Trust me, it's nowhere near as nice. But they get better later on, so don't worry too much on that.
I will say, my favorite thing in the episode is the voice acting. It's probably going to be the same case for the game, but I liked how Ren's voice actor emoted for quite a bit of it.
Yeah.
And,
are you going to do, for the game, are you going to do English or Japanese?
I've been thinking of doing Japanese. I may just do English just because of the stream barrier.
And plus you can see what the differences are, I think. And English is pretty good. Like, I'm not going to lie, it's pretty good. Some weird little things here and there about pronunciation. Otherwise, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm probably just going to go with the English version at the end of the day, but I'm really contemplating the Japanese just to screw with myself.
Yeah.
But one thing I am kind of excited about that did get a bit more glossed over was Ryuji. Because his personality, I like as I've been watching the episodes, because I think I'm on episode 8, and the personality of him, especially when he's talking to Ren, I like it. It's I like that type of comment.
I think I got into episode 9 or 10 so far, and
you may be actually 1 or 2 episodes ahead of me.
Yeah, so you're gonna Ryuji's the kind of guy that has vulgarity to him because he hasn't. It's hard to explain, but he has a heart of gold, which is, I think, the good aspect, a good thing to have.
And onwards, episode 2, we got our first look of Morgana. We got Ryuji and his awakening, and the reasoning to him and Kirishima.
Kamoshida.
I want to say Kimishida, but it's like I should have just said Kamoshida and then just names. Sometimes I don't get them.
That's fine.
But it's very I like the reasoning that they give for the distrust that Ryuji has against Kamoshida. Did I get that one right?
Yeah, there's a lot more later on that you'll find out of why things are bad.
No worries. I'm expecting the bad things to come.
I mean, they already talked about how Kamoshida, him and Kamoshida got into a fight, and Kamoshida broke his leg and claimed self-defense on it, and pretty much disbarred the track team based on it. So, I mean, that's a pretty good reason.
Yeah. And I'd honestly say, what do you think of Morgana in so far with the anime adaptation?
Fine. I mean, Morgana's not the strongest character in the series, I believe. They've kind of gotten weirder with the mascot characters ever since Persona 3, but it's Morgana's fine in this. He gets more character development later on in the game, at least. So I haven't seen all the anime yet, but he gets more character development later on.
I would say my major problem with episode 2 is just the same problem as episode 1, the pacing.
Mm-hmm.
But the animation in this episode was a bit better than the first one, albeit, but not too much. That said, when we'll talk about it, episode 3 is my least favorite so far.
Okay. Yeah, the animation gets better, and I think you've seen it, I've seen it, it gets much better.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that the fight scenes just are terribly animated. Consistent.
Yeah.
That stuff is pretty weak, to say the least.
Yeah.
So, that's a definite issue I have with everything in the game, is that, in the anime, sorry, is that you take some of the most visually arresting aspects of the game and you distill them into some incredibly boring and plain scenes.
They're rough and they're slow, which is really bad.
Yeah, it's to the point where they could just take some of the stuff from the game and it would look better than the animation. That's how bad it is.
Or they could have done CG animation like some of the other studios are doing, and it could actually work for Persona 5's case.
Yeah, and one of the big things also is and we'll talk about this later on in the episodes, is that they're doing so well with a lot of the day-to-day stuff that the game doesn't do well with, either because it's a pacing or tonal issues or what have you not.
I would agree with that.
They're doing way better with that, and just to drop the ball on this is kind of baffling in a way.
Isn't Persona famous for its fighting style?
5 definitely. It became a meme, for crying out loud. But 3 and 4 not necessarily. It was always the kind of the press turn system for Shin Megami Tensei, in the way that you find weaknesses, you do knockdowns, you constantly try to have the upper hand with the enemy using strengths and weaknesses. So that's always been kind of their hallmark, but it's way flashier now in 5 than it was in any of the other ones.
All right. And before we head off for tonight, what are your final thoughts when it comes to the 2 episodes that we talked about for tonight?
Oh, man. So, it's just rough.
That's a good word.
if you look at stuff like the Daybreakers, which was their before the game came out in 2005 in Japan. Not
2005.
2015. I'm sorry, not 2000. Yeah. So 2016. My bad.
No
it was originally
worries.
supposed to be It was supposed to be 2015, 2016, and I said 2005.
No, it was secretly released in 2005.
Yeah, clearly. So yeah, before the release in September 2016, they released Daybreakers, which had its own issues and its own kind of funny. A1 Pictures doesn't match the model animation style, but the fight scenes are fantastic, and that's always been something that threw me off with this, is why all these fight scenes look like crap in a way.
My question is, who was the head of fight animation compared to that, and compared to Persona 5 the animation? Because it could have been just a situation to where they replaced the fight animators, and that it was just because those animators were going on to another project?
Maybe. I just don't know. There's I'm just looking at the directors here. There's 5 or 6 directors for this whole thing. So, there's a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, the director of the Daybreakers hasn't shown up yet in this series.
And that's a very interesting question to ask for future episodes in this show going forward, because in Persona 5, the animation to me for the first 2 episodes were not pretty, and they needed... I feel like they should have actually pushed back the release of the show just to get a little bit more time.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that in the end of the day, that's not going to be my call. It's going to be the call of those were involved.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my main criticism of the first 2. I wish there was more time developed.
And that's the big thing, is you're taking a game that was about 120 hours for some people and trying to distill it down into, a 37 episode series is what it looks like it's turning out to be.
37.
And it's just, yeah, and it's kind of crazy to think that they're focusing on the correct things, which is definitely the character interactions, but it's still, it's going to be interesting to see how they land this one.
Yeah, and I feel like that's going to be very fascinating to talk about for the next few episodes to come, because I do think the Yusuke arc is a lot better than the Kamoshida arc.
Mm-hmm. Which is disappointing, because I think Kamoshida was definitely the highlight. One of the highlights of the game. That opening arc is absolutely fantastic. How everything is done, how it's built up, how it's really built as in a gameplay sense very well. So that's what is really great, is just seeing that, playing it out is fantastic, and then just seeing it not represented as well in the anime was just disappointing.
Yeah, and I really am excited. I am very excited to see what exactly the fuss is of Persona 5. And even though the animation so far in these first episodes do not impress me, I'm sure the game itself is going to deliver on what it was trying to do.
And it's mixed. Because there's aspects of the game that are way better, and there's aspects of the anime that so far have been way better. So it's really a mixed bag, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do after the arc of wow, trying to think here. The arc of
Kamoshida?
No, not Kamoshida. Futaba. After Futaba's arc, to see how that is treated. Her arc is pretty good, and then in the game is after it is where things get, troublesome.
Isn't that where they ATLUS did the curfew?
No. It's not, but that's okay. That's the best way to put it.
Oh God. That being said, then that concludes today's episode.
Basically, the cutoff of I'll just say it right now, the cutoff was arbitrary. It's the middle of nothing. I think it's just literally the middle of the game that they said thanks. Just don't stop. So
I guess maybe they just realized that you go too far in and you may accidentally do something that you don't want to show the public yet? Or
no, I mean no, it was just a random day, like in the game.
Really?
Yeah, it was nothing. I literally think it was in the middle. That's all it was. I was thinking, oh well, I'm on this, whatever it was, like July 13th or something.
It was after the 4th of July. I know that at the very least.
Yeah, it was that, and it was just some random day. It was like nothing important. It wasn't like the end of, like they could have bumped it out a few days and maybe hit something. You could pull it in a few days and hit. Nope, nothing, nothing at all. It was just like okay.
And I think they
basically said.
I think they even extended like to where like they put.
I think they went into the fall, I want to say, or something, and and it's just a weird thing with the streaming is like it's just Japanese companies being weird, like ATLUS USA knows what happened with Persona 4 with Giant Bomb. Like they know how popular that is, and they probably knew exactly what they were doing. But Japan likes to be weird with stuff, and we'll leave it at that.
And with that being said, then that concludes today's episode of The Awakening, a retrospective to Persona 5 and Persona 5 the animation. And with that, I would like to give special thanks to everyone that watched this episode of the show, and to Joe. Where can we find you on your social media platforms?
You can find me at Parkscope Joe and the Twitter.
All right. And for me, you can find me at Alexander M. Bush on Twitter, and you can find anything for the Game Bay and Time Split content for Game Bay here on Twitch at TS the Game Bay, or on YouTube at Time Split. With that being said, thank you guys so much for walking
with us. Yeah.
If you're going on a jog today, thank you so much for walking as you listen to us being idiots. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Alex, that is Joe, and we can't wait to see you as we break in and break out this brand new show. Bye, guys.